Hey everybody, Ryan here at etrailer.com. Today on our 2018 Dodge Ram 1500, we're going to be taking a look at and showing you how to install the Roadmaster taillight wiring kit for towed vehicles. Our wiring is going to be one of 5 major components needed to flat tow our Ram down the road. The other 4 are going to include our tow bar, a base plate, safety cables, as well as a braking system. The wiring kit is going to mirror the RV's lighting signals while we're flat towing our truck down the road to remain safe and legal. If you look, you can see our LED bulb inside of our taillight housing, and even on a bright, sunny day, they shine nice and bright. Now this wiring kit is a bulb and socket style, which does have some pros and some cons over some of the other types available. One of the pros is that it's going to be completely separate from our vehicle's wiring system. So that's going to separate it and help prevent any issues if something were to short. Now one of the cons is that you are going to have to drill a hole in your taillight housing. That way your bulb and socket will fit inside. But one of the benefits, if you will, is that you're not going to have to cut into your factory wiring either. Now there is another style as well, and those are called magnetic tow lights. Now when you use those, you're going to have to set them up every single time, drape wires over your car, and you're actually going to stick the magnet lights to your vehicle's finish, and that could eventually scratch or damage that paint. With these, once you set them up once, you're done. You know they're going to last a long time, especially since the bulbs are LEDs. Now there is a couple of things I would recommend to help get the job done when you install these and make life a little easier. And that's some extra wiring. Since this is a big long truck, our wiring from the kit does come up a little bit short, so it was nice to have some extra on hand. Another thing I'd recommend is some silicone. We're going to use that to help seal up the hole where our light fits into to help prevent any condensation or moisture getting inside. Now the installation is pretty straightforward. In my opinion, the most challenging part is drilling the holes in the taillight lenses, but we'll go ahead and walk you through how to do that now. To begin our installation, we're first going to start by running our wiring from the front of our truck to the back. Now I went ahead and ran it and show you the path that I took. Now since our 7-way plug on our motorhome is on the passenger side, I'm going to want to run our wiring on the passenger side. So I left about 1 foot or 2 coming out of our opening here, and I just ran it back along the bumper and up. You can kind of see where I ran it up from in front of the radiator here. Then I just brought it along the side of our engine compartment. I did leave a little bit of slack in here. That way if you're hooking up a braking system or anything, it'll be easier to connect into these wires. Along our brake booster, and I dropped it down the firewall to the underside of the truck. And here's where my wire drops down from the firewall. I just kind of pushed it behind our heat shield and ran it along our frame rail. Now you want to be sure to avoid any hot or moving parts as much as you can. Just secured it using some zip ties along our frame along the way. Up here along our fuel tank, following our frame rail up on the side of our spare tire. And once I got to this point, I actually had to extend my wiring because the wiring in the kit did fall a little bit short. And I did that using some extra wiring and some heat shrink butt connectors, which are available here at etrailer.com. And from there, I ran my brown and yellow wire over here to the driver's side rather. And the white and green wire, I strung that along the back side of our bumper and dropped it over here on the passenger side. With our wires ran to the back of our truck, we can now remove our taillights. Now to do that, lower your tailgate, and we'll have 2 T25 torque spit screws we'll need to take out. Once we have the screws removed, then grab the taillight work it towards you. And we'll go ahead and disconnect it. So I have a couple of clips here. One will be up here. There'll be a red tab. You need to push that back. And then the black tab, push that down and disconnect it. For this one on the bottom, we'll just have a center black tab. You'll push it down, separate it. We can kind of set our light off to the side. Now the passenger side is set up the same way, so I'll go ahead and repeat this process to get that one removed as well. Now on the back side of our tail lights, we can drill a hole. That way we can install our bulb and sockets. Now where we're going to put these is right here in this area, just above our factory tail light. So I'm going to shoot for the top edge of our socket to set kind of just under this blue sticker, about where this yellow line is, right here in this area. I'm going to try to go close enough to where the edge here will not catch this taller edge, because we want this to sit as flat as possible. So what we're going to do is take the 1-inch hole saw. I'm going to make a pilot hole first, and then what I'm actually going to do is drill our hole in reverse, and it's just a little easier to manage and makes for a cleaner cut when we're drilling into this plastic. If it falls down in there, one thing you can do is just remove your factory bulb. You can reach in and grab that. Now, when we put our bulb in place, it'll fit pretty loose in there. So what we're going to do to correct that issue is we're going to have these small tabs all the way around our socket. So you take a flathead screwdriver, just kind of pry those outward. And that way, doing this will create a tighter fit and help it stay in place and prevent any leaks or anything like that. We'll work all these out all the way around. And we can put it into place. And if you happen to push these out just a little too far, you can always just kind of push them back down a little bit to get it to fit in the tail light. Alright, I got it completely in place. It feels like it has a snug fit. And then what we're going to do is use some silicone and just really seal up around the edges, around our socket, and anywhere that moisture or water could potentially get into. And that'll really help keep everything sealed. If you need some of this sealer, you can find it here at etrailer. So now we can hook up the wiring coming from our bulb and socket light to the wiring that we ran from the front of the vehicle. And what we're going to do is use butt connectors to get that job done. Now these are heat shrinks. They give a little more protection than the standard style ones that come in the kit. However, those will work fine. But if you want to use these, you can find them here at etrailer. So we're going to start with the red wire from the light. Crimp on our connector. And this is going to go to the yellow wire. Get that crimped on. Now the next wire that we're going to focus on will be the brown wire. Now that's going to get connected to the brown wire that we ran up here. However, this is going to be just a little bit different. What we're going to do is use a larger butt connector, crimp that down on the side, go into our light. Then we're going to grab some extra wiring and connect it to this wire. That way we can run it over to the passenger side. Now this is a white wire. I just had laying around, but I went ahead and put some black paint on it just to help us identify that this is the brown wire. So we'll connect these two together and place them into that same butt connector. What I'll do is I'll take the other end of our white wire and drop it down into the opening. That way it'll go to the bottom side of the truck. Now for the black wire, we're going to put on one of the larger butt connectors. We're going to add 2 wires to the other end. Now these are going to be our ground wires. So what we're going to do is one of them will run over to the passenger side, and the other one, the end of that wire, we're going to find a good spot to ground it to the frame of the truck. So we'll take our 2 extra wires, twist them together, connect them to the black wire, and then we can go ahead and feed them down into the taillight pocket to the bottom of the truck, just like we did that other wire. So with all of our connections made over here, I'm going to go ahead and use a heat source to shrink the heat shrink portion of our butt connectors. Alright, so I went ahead and used some electrical tape around our connections for a little extra protection. Now we can take our tail light, plug the factory connectors back in. Now these will only plug in one way, so you don't have to worry about getting them backwards or anything like that. And then we can just line our tail light back up and reinstall it using the same hardware that we took out. I went ahead and crimped on the included ring terminal here on our ground wire that we dropped down through the taillight pocket, and secured it to a solid, clean piece of metal using the included tech screw. Now once that's done, I went ahead and ran that other ground wire to the passenger side, as well as the wire that's connected to our brown wire over the passenger side. Here's the path that I took. Just ran it up along above my spare tire, along the edge, using some zip ties to secure everything up. Then I just fed them up into that hole into our taillight pocket. Now I went ahead and used our butt connectors to connect all of our wiring. This one here, which connected to the brown wire on the driver's side that we ran over, and to the brown wire on the passenger side. The green wire from our new harness gets connected to the red wire coming out from our light. And the black wire coming out from our light, that gets connected to both of our ground wires. Now with everything connected, go ahead and tape everything up just to help keep it protected. And once we have everything covered, we can go ahead and reinstall our tail light same way that we removed it. And don't forget to plug everything in. Now here at the front of the vehicle, we can hook up our 6-way. Now since a 6-way plug does not come included with our kit, we are using the Roadmaster 6-way, which you can find here at etrailer. Now the way to hook these up is first you will strip back some insulation on your wiring. And if you're using this 6-way, you'll put the rubber boot on over the wiring first. And then on each terminal, we're going to have a set screw. So you use a small Phillips to loosen up. And each terminal is actually going to be labeled. The ones that we are using will be GD for ground. The white wire will go into there. LT, and that's for left turn. So our yellow wire will go into there. We'll have RT for right turn. Our green wire will go into there. And finally we will have TM. That's for tail lights. So our brown wire will go into there. So we'll feed that to the opening, push it all the way down, and just tighten up that set screw. With all your wires hooked up at this point, I recommend using some dielectric grease to smear all over our terminals to keep them protected. And once you have that done, what you do is just take your rubber cap and push it into place. With everything hooked up, we can go ahead and test it to make sure it's going to work properly. Now I'm using a tester here to do that job. However, if you don't have one of these, you can always just hook up to your motorhome and do it that way. Now we go ahead and turn our lights on. We'll use our running lights, our brake lights, our right turn, and our left turn. And that'll finish up our look at and our installation of the Roadmaster taillight wiring kit for towed vehicles on our 2018 Dodge Ram 1500.